Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to have a go at making a guinea pig face cake. Kind of looks a bit like a hamster, but I'm aiming for guinea pig with this one. I've got quite a large cake. It's a 12-inch cake that I've got on this one, and I'm going to make some chocolate milkshake buttercream. So it just comes in a pack, you just mix it with some butter. And that's just going to sandwich in between my two cakes. And I've got a rectangular cake drum that I'm sticking it on. I'm just going to add some chocolate chips in there as well. And I'm going to cut a little bit off the top of each side of the cake for the shape of my guinea pig's face. And then I'm going to use my offcuts to fill in sort of the nose and mouth area, just to bulk it up. I'm going to round off the edges. Again, just sticking it back on. So all these offcuts are going back on, kind of the cheek area. And then we're just going to cut out a slight dip just to kind of push it against the nose. So once you've piled it up to the height you want, I don't want to make it too big. I'm going to cover the whole thing in more of that chocolate milkshake buttercream. So I've gone fairly thick with the buttercream, and then I'm using a flexible smoother to just kind of scrape over the edges, trying to bend the smoother as I go around. I'm going to put it in the fridge, and I'm going to mix a colour for my guinea pig while that's in the refrigerator. So I've got white with a tiny bit of the teddy bear brown. Guys, I'll link below to all the products that I use. I do sell most of these bits and pieces in my shop, but you'll be able to find the links below if you want them. So it's a tiny bit teddy bear brown with quite a lot of white. You just want to roll it big enough that it's going to cover your cake. So we're going to place that carefully on the cake and gently smooth it down. Now guys, I have washed my hands for doing this. And I'm just going to press anywhere that I want to kind of stick out. So above the kind of the eyebrow area, I think we want it as tufts of hair. I'm just going to mark roughly where I want the eyes to go. And when I was looking at different images, some of them looked like they had a little dip kind of under the chin. I don't know if the dip looks right on mine or not, but I'd already committed to it at this point. And then we're just going to put in the nose and mouth area. Don't go too big with this area. Keep the mouth fairly small. Just poking in a Dresden tool to create the little bottom bit of the mouth. And then just some small little nostrils. And I did have to look at pictures of guinea pigs again for this while I was doing the shape of the nose. And then we're just going to add little fur lines in there. So fairly small ones around the nose and mouth area. And then they're going to get bigger and longer as we come down the face and sort of further out towards the outside edge of the face. So you can leave it without the fur lines, but I didn't think it looked very guinea pig-like until I put in this fur. I reckon it probably altogether took me about 15 minutes to put in all the hairlines. So it just depends how patient you are. I have done cakes where it's taken me a lot longer than 15 minutes to put in hairlines. Or you could go for a smaller cake as well, guys. If you don't want to spend as long doing this, you could go for a much smaller guinea pig face. So I'm keeping all the lines smaller around the nose area, making them bigger as they come further out towards the outer edge of the face. And again, for the direction that the hair grows in, because you want to make sure you're doing the lines in the right direction, just keep having a look at different images of guinea pigs. Some of them have longer hair, some of them have shorter hair, so go with whichever one you like the look of. I've tried to keep the hair looking quite long up sort of where I'm going to call it the eyebrow area, even though it's not my guinea pig's eyebrows. I know I'm going to stick some daisies up there later, so I've gone all the way through the fondant a little bit with my tool, and you can see a bit of the chocolate buttercream poking through, but I'm going to cover that up later, so it's okay. And if you want to see some of my other videos, guys, where I've put fur lines in, I'm going to put links to those up on the screen now. So for the ears, I've just squashed 2 balls down, keeping them fairly flat at the edge. I'm going to use these for the ears. I'm going to flop them over a little bit. Just going a bit deeper with my eye sockets now. And I'm just using some black fondant just to fill in those eyes. Just playing around with the fur in front of them. And then I've got a thin piece, like a sausage-shaped piece, really thin, that's just gone all the way around the outside of each eye. Now for the board, I think I'm going to go for green. And I'm just going to cover it 1/2 at a time. And cut off any extra from around the outside of the board. I'm just going to draw in some lines so it looks like pieces of grass, but I think what I might do is just add 3D pieces of grass to it later. Now, it just looks like a head, so I want it to look like it's got a bit of a body poking out, so I'm just adding some fondant to the board in the same colour that we did the face. And let's add some little sort of teardrop shapes for the little toes. And then when we add a bit of colour, hopefully it's going to make it look a little bit more realistic. And you can do whatever colours you want for this guinea pig. I found it difficult to choose what colours I thought would look best. I went with quite a pale coloured one for this one. So I've got the edible powdered colours, guys. Again, I'll put links below so you can see what I've used. And you can use them wet as paint, or you can use them dry. I've gone dry on the nose with a bit of pink and black. So put the black in areas that you want to look a bit darker. So anything that would be shaded, so like inside the mouth, inside the nostrils. The ears I've got pink and black mixed together and painted on. Even a little bit on the toes with the pink. And then a little bit of brown, really diluted down so that it runs into the lines that we've put in for the hair. This is the squirrel brown fractal one that I'm using here. So I'm just going to dilute it down more so it becomes a slightly more transparent, paler colour as I'm painting further into the face. You can always add a bit of cream colour to it as well if you want to change the brown a little bit. And I'm trying to leave a little bit around the eyes in a slightly lighter colour, just because some of the ones I was looking at pictures of looked like the fur was slightly lighter around that area. But you don't want it to look too flat colour-wise. Try and get varying depths of colour on there. And of course you might find that rather than painting it, you prefer to stick patches of colour on in fondant, which is absolutely fine. Just make sure you stick them on fairly thin so that they don't stick out. So if you were doing a guinea pig that was like brown, black and white, you could stick the black and brown patches on with fondant. I'm just going to go a little bit darker now at the top of the nose, so from the nose up to the forehead, just because I like that it runs in between those hairlines and gives it bits of shadow. Just darkening up the nose just a little bit more. And then I'm going to use some of that leftover green and we're just going to cut long thin triangles and we're going to use these as grass. So I've tried to do some of them sticking up from under the guinea pig, so there's a couple that overlap onto the face. Then I'm going to use some white. Now I've actually swapped to a flower paste for this, guys, just because it's going to be a little bit firmer for making flowers with. And I've got a daisy cutter, so we're going to cut out a few daisy shapes. I'm just thinning out the petals. It also stretches them a little bit when I thin them. Let's stick two together. Just pull your petals so they're not overlapping each other too much. And we're just going to press that onto the head. So I'm going to put them on this area where it's a little bit messy that I know I need to cover up. I've got a ball of yellow that's just going in the middle. I'm just kind of dotting it a little bit to give it texture so it looks more like the centre of a daisy. And you can do as many of these as you want. You could even do some of these to sit into the grass on your board. So I could add more daisies, but I think I'm going to leave it as it is. A nice bit of edible glaze in the eyes does look quite nice. Just the extra shine makes it look a bit more realistic. You can put a tiny bit on the nose if you want to. Just watch out because it does drip everywhere. And then I've gone with a bit of a green food colouring. I've diluted it down quite a bit. I think this one was the spruce green. And I'm just painting it between my pieces of grass just so it doesn't look as flat colour-wise. And then I've got a bit of like a cream colour that I'm just dusting onto the top of the board like so. I wish I had gone for more daisies. I wish I'd put some on the board because I think they would have looked nice in the grass. But there we are. It's all finished. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like if you enjoyed it. And don't forget you can find new videos with us weekly. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave me a comment below. You can see more of my tutorials by clicking on the images on screen now. If you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button to stay up to date with my future tutorials. There are also links in the description box below where you can find me on Facebook, Instagram and more.